So might as well start with, I don't see Jane here. I don't know if she will be joining us. Jane Hotchkiss is our liaison, taking Mike Lawson's place. I invited her, but I don't see her. So maybe later on. Anyway, we might as well go ahead with the minutes, the approval of the minutes. Is there any discussion about the minutes from the public meeting on the October 12th?
Just the spelling of my name.
Okay,
Is it
so
again?
No, the Elizabeth part is right now, but Eldon is EN.
we'll get it eventually.
Oh, I know. And it's correct in the other ones. So
Okay,
that's all that I see, though. It was pretty straightforward. No.
thank you. I have another Elizabeth friend, so that's not a hard one for me, the Elizabeth.
Okay. No worries.
You know, I have a comment on the date. It should be the 13th instead of the 12th.
I can't hear, oh, minutes of the 13th, thank you.
Yeah, it's the minutes of the 13th.
It was October 13th.
Yeah, it, on the draft, on the executive set, public meeting, it says minutes held October 12th, and it should say the 13th.
Okay, all right. Good catch, Bob. Any other?
Okay, I'm not.
We put these in there to make sure you read the minutes.
They're very spare this month, the minutes.
The very what?
They're very
Spare.
spare.
Yes. But I think it has everything in it that needs to be in it.
It does.
So. All right, so can I have a motion to approve the public meeting minutes of October 13th, 2020?
So moved.
Second,
Was that a second?
yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Okay, all right. And how about the executive meeting minutes? I have to tell you all that I changed in my notes from that meeting, we had put $500 to pay for a client's electric and Wi-Fi bill.
Mhm.
And it turned out that they used the money to pay for the electric bill. So I just switched the categories. The numbers have changed rather than, we paid $1,500 from CMLP rather than just $1,000. And I just wanted to draw that to everybody's attention. I also found out, and this is just a little aside, that the CMLP fund cannot be used for paying for Wi-Fi. It can only be used for electricity.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either, but I talked to Ann Stevens and she
Good to
told me
know.
that. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
so out of curiosity, is that why it was applied entirely to their electric bill?
The electric bill was much larger than the Wi-Fi bill.
Okay.
The Wi-Fi bill was like $41. It was very small. So they just applied it to the electric bill.
I just have one minor change, which is I think I'm supposed to be in the bottom group to adjourn.
Yes, indeed. Sally Clutter's name is still there.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
the
you know how that
secretary-
happens.
The clerk make note of that.
Yeah,
Thank you, Elizabeth.
No problem.
We'll get these things worked out. We have templates.
Yes, so do I knew exactly what happened.
All right.
Judy, I would like that information about CMLP only being used for Wi-Fi. No, I mean, only used for electricity and not for Wi-Fi. I'd like that to get in the minutes somewhere because I think that's important information.
Can you put it in the minutes?
Well, it was said here, but I'd like it repeated for the Hugh Cargill so that it's in those as well.
Right.
I'm going to put it in these minutes as some conversation around.
So what are you asking me to do?
To repeat it when we are in executive session, so it will go in those minutes as well.
Okay, got it. Okay. I will do that. Do we have a motion to accept the executive session minutes from the 13th of October, 2020?
I move we accept
So
the
moved.
meeting.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
All
There's-
right.
Jane Hotchkiss is with us, I see.
I don't see her, but
Yeah.
Sorry to be late.
Jane, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh,
I-
Sorry
good.
to be late.
That's okay.
I thought, right,
Jane, for purposes of sending you minutes, can you give me your email?
It's jhotchkiss@concordma.gov.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have just finished the minutes and we're moving on to the treasurer's report, and I have a very red face. I was just glancing at this today, getting ready for this meeting, and I realized that I did not put in the amount of money that that we sent out for tax relief. So I have some numbers that everybody, if you have the paper,
Yeah.
you can put it in, or I can send you the corrected treasurer's report. Do you have the treasurer's report in front of you,
Mhm.
guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Under Board of Selectmen, it has a 0 right now. However, we sent out $16,575 in tax relief. And that comes out to the total, the ending balance is $121,933.20. Now I'll be happy to, in fact, I will. I'll send out a corrected treasurer's report, but I just wanted everybody to know that for some reason, I counted them. As you can see, we had 52 recipients of tax relief, but I didn't put down the total amount that we used out of that account.
Judy, I missed, it's 16,000 what?
16,575.
Thank you so much.
And the final total was 121,933.20. We've never figured out where that 20 cents came from, but it's not important.
Judy, is there a Google Drive where all these files are kept? Like that we all access, or do we just wait? Okay, so they get sent to us by email?
Yes,
All right, thank you.
at least there isn't right now.
Okay.
Everything else, I believe, is accurate. So are there any questions? There was nothing unusual in this one. We didn't receive any receipts, any gifts. Hopefully we will in a couple of months after the letter goes out. So, oh, and I should say, if you note, there were 52 recipients from tax relief recipients, and that's up by several people. So we have some new tax relief clients, which I'm assuming it shows Bob's doing a good job in recruiting and noting that people are eligible. Okay. Any questions about the treasurer's report? May I hear could somebody please move that we approve the
I
treasurer?
move.
So moved.
Second,
Wait a minute. I have a question.
sure.
Are we in trouble on any, I mean, like low funds on anything, or the CMLP now, is that going to be refunded?
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up, Bob. I should have mentioned that this past week, I talked with CMLP and requested a $10,000 transfer. Jeremy, did that possibly come in?
So I saw your email. I don't know if I just need to move the numbers in the account,
Uh-huh.
like on the spreadsheet that I have, and that's
Okay.
takes care of it because it's technically all in one account under Bank of America. We just divide it out by the account.
So how do you know if they've transferred the money?
Are you referring, are they supposed to give us new money, or are you saying money
Yes.
we transfer for? Oh, okay, so
They're
I have,
supposed to transfer $10,000 according to, his name is Matt. I can't remember his last name.
okay, I haven't received any notice of that. I don't know if that just the bank would receive notice and we get like a letter in the mail
Okay.
sometime soon.
Maybe
but
I'd
I-
better
I
check.
don't know.
Maybe I should check with him to make sure that that's gone through, because he told me what to do. I did it, but I haven't received confirmation. So, okay, all right. I will give Matt a call or send him an email. All right. Bob, does that answer your question?
It does, thank you.
All right. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Okay, thank you very much. Now, how are we going to hear Bob? Bob, we need you to speak up because you're on next with an update on the tax relief and the fall appeal.
now, can you hear me okay now?
Oh, better. Yeah.
Better?
How about
Okay.
everybody else?
Yep.
Okay.
Somehow I don't have video, but hopefully I have audio.
Yep, you do. It's doing pretty well.
Are
So
you
what's
asking me
happening-
if I'm, tax relief?
Yes.
I followed up with our letter to the Tax Relief Committee. Eric Van Loon is the chair of that. And so we got a response back saying that that letter will go out sometime before Thanksgiving. It's actually the dual letter with the Hugh Cargill on one side and the tax relief on the other side. And we've between Judy and myself, we sent a letter, our letter that would be on the reverse side of the tax relief. You know, it's a dual letter, so with one mailing. Hopefully we'll get a good response.
I think that sounds
So I don't,
perfect.
yeah, there's no, I asked them to let me know if there's another meeting before the letter is issued, just in case they change something, but I haven't heard anything back, so there probably will not be, I would guess.
And to add to that, Bob, I haven't heard anything from them either. I think that they're just kind of expecting me to send it out sometime before Thanksgiving. So I'm going to probably get to that either the end of this week or beginning of next week. So I will check with both committees just to make sure that I have the most updated version that you guys want to send out, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know Elizabeth's name was spelled incorrectly on that too. I want to make sure that gets corrected with, you know, with S instead of a Z on the letter, so,
Bob,
yeah,
just remind me, this is the letter that goes to everyone,
correct.
townwide. Okay.
No, I don't think so. It goes to the
Is-
same, to the people who
This year?
donated last year. It's, I think
Is
it's a
that-
3-year
oh,
cycle.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right. That's right.
It goes out every 3 years to townwide, and then the next one's just to our friends of tax
Is it
relief.
No,
when's the
where-
next,
Yeah,
when's
Sorry?
the next townwide? When's the next townwide?
Probably next year.
I think when we met with tax relief, you know, I don't know if it was a month ago or something. I think we decided that it would be next year, or they decided that it would be next year.
Okay.
Thank
Bob,
you. I was unclear whether it was a 2-year or 3-year cycle.
Yeah.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
confirm.
Okay. I think we're all set there. The letter looked good, and hopefully they'll get it, you know. Hopefully,
a
Jeremy, your
question.
job won't be too onerous, sending all those letters out. Bob, I have a
Well, I
question. How
know-
many new tax recipients, tax relief recipients did we have this last time? Do you know?
I think it was around, originally, Jeremy, I think on the list was, I think we had 49, now we have 52, I think is what.
Okay. And how do you get new recipients, tax relief recipients?
Well, I think Lucy, for one, is on the alert. She deserves some credit for spying, seeing what, somebody might need some additional assistance. And, sometimes I think that's the main way we do get that. And, in our discussions, when on the executive meeting, that's when we pick up some more people that may not know
Okay.
about it. So I think
That's really good.
that's
But one thing I would mention is that there are people who in town who don't even know about Hugh Cargill Trust who would be eligible for tax relief, and they just have to find out. I guess they find out through Council on Aging is one contact, but not everybody comes through us. I mean, there are people who say, "Oh, I just learned about Hugh Cargill Trust. What a wonderful, tell me all about it." And then, so it's not a natural pipeline.
And I guess I would ask the committee as to whether or not it's interested in raising that profile, because that would lead us to do some new things.
What sort of new things?
Well, we could use everything from town news and notices. We could, there are ways of doing
Publicizing.
publicizing that don't require a letter in the mail.
I
Mhm.
think that's a good idea to publicize the tax relief, what we have to share with people who need tax relief. We have a large sum of money,
Yeah.
and we should be reaching the people who need
I
it
think that's a
and
good-
deserve it.
It's a
Well,
good
maybe we
idea.
Maybe what we can do is articulate something at a select board meeting, put it on the agenda and say, articulate, and Jeremy, I know you're listening, so help me with this, but going into the season of giving, we wanted to remind everybody in Concord that especially in this time of the virus, Concord does have a number of funding mechanisms for those who are in need, and then just list them.
Yeah, I think a good thing also to do is I can ask Stephen if he'd be willing to put it in his town manager's report, and then also Linda in her chair's remarks. And then, if we could at least at like one meeting or something, list it as an agenda item somehow, just to kind of
Exactly.
get it out there.
Exactly. Just to profile it, especially we've done a lot of work for the town businesses who've been hit hard by the pandemic and the economic recession, need I say. The residents too have pockets of need, as somebody was just acknowledging, because our tax relief recipients were up last year, not surprisingly, and that's without outreach.
Yes.
Right.
I think that sounds like a great idea. Anybody else want to comment?
I did get a call on from a person I know that wanted to donate to the Hugh Cargill, and I wasn't able. Jeremy, did you find anything out at all about, like, in terms of like the 501 C3?
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't hear back from our finance director.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll just walk over. Her office is right over there. So,
But I did. I spoke to Jim, Judy's husband, and he gave me a good, like hint on how to do it. So I think I passed that along, and I haven't heard back from him. I'll follow up to see, but he was going to give a pretty generous donation, so I want to follow it up.
Sounds like,
I assume we already have relationships with partner organizations, right? To get information out to the community, so food families, right?
Right now, there's no, like, his finance institution he's using, like, if you put Hugh Cargill Trust, it doesn't work for them. So I think Jim Terry mentioned to him that to put the town of Concord on it, and then Hugh Cargill Trust, which is what I passed along. Because the Hugh Cargill Trust is not existent as far as, going directly.
right. Right. So, yeah,
Well,
what Jim explained, my husband, Jim has had a number of volunteer jobs having to do with finances in the town. And he explained that the town is tax exempt. Therefore, a gift to the town is tax exempt. So
Elizabeth,
know,
I'm
but
not thinking that
Carrie
your
obviously-
question was answered.
I jumped in too quickly. We weren't
Yeah.
done with this topic, so I'm just waiting.
Oh, okay.
So the question again, Elizabeth?
Oh, so we were thinking about ways to raise the visibility of Hugh Cargill Trust in town so that people know that it's available. And I'm just, because I'm new, I'm assuming we already have relationships with partner organizations. So Lucy and I, for example, through Gaining Ground, we can reach the Food for Families people. But there's, the other organizations in town, do we partner with them and make sure that whoever their recipients are know about the Hugh Cargill Trust? Like, what do those relationships look like?
Well, one thing I would say is that the various funders in town, privately, like the St. Vincent de Paul and the Community Chest and various and the churches, we all know about each other and we pass along information and help each other. So if we have a client with a big need and we can only do a little, we sort of spread the joy so others can participate. So there's a lot of interaction between funding groups in town, which is not something that's advertised because there's no real reason to do that. But we are all very aware of each other and support each other and collaborate when it's appropriate.
So that's already
Not-
happening. And the other
Yeah, and
idea
not
I
to-
had, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, obviously, Council on Aging and Bonnie
Yeah.
Wilbur, both are very aware of what we do and are often the conduits between us and those two organizations.
And in fact, for the Silent Fund, we reach out to all of those organizations for them to nominate people to receive either the holiday around Christmas time or the camperships.
Good point.
Yeah, another place that we could consider is a section of the Concord Journal where you can sort of write, I can't remember, it's like a feature section. You can write about something that's upcoming or just generally, and to Jane's point, the same kind of thing that you would do at the select board meeting, you could do in this article. Here are all the organizations in town that support folks, especially during this this time, because it's been a stress on people who are already under stress. It's been a stress on people who didn't used to be under stress. And just so everyone's aware, they can reach out to, and then just list the organizations and the resources that they provide.
So I'm unclear, Elizabeth, who are you suggesting do
It's
this?
in the.
Who is the organization that you are suggesting amass all this information and send it out to the Concord Journal? I'm just wondering where you're, what.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I was piggybacking on the idea of announcing something like that at the select board.
Okay, thank you.
So repeating it in different venues, paper, like the Journal, a select board meeting, a post on social media, all the different ways that people check in with what's going on in their town.
I think that's a great idea. One little thing I would mention, though, I think a lot of these people do not subscribe to the journal. It's an expense.
Mhm.
They have difficulty accessing information in general about town. They really do.
Yeah,
So-
but someone might see it who has a neighbor that they know has a need, and
Right.
gently share that information, support the person's inquiry into the resources. I don't know, just.
And as a supplement, we have a very large list of recipients for, this is just an example, Gaining Ground, just giving them that article would be very helpful.
So I'm going back to my question. I hope you're not suggesting that this committee take it upon themselves to create
No.
this resource list and get it published somehow. So I'm just wondering where you want to go with this.
I didn't realize it wasn't available. And in my mind, I mean, if someone's got to do it, why not us? I mean, the town is going to know, I assume, who all the different organizations are. And yes, it's a certain amount of work, but imagine if we had that type of a resource list that we could provide people when they move to town or when they come forward to Gaining Ground, and then we say, hey, here's everything else that might be available to you. I mean, it just seems, I don't know who's going to do it.
Yeah, I know
Elizabeth?
there is a resource guide because I have it. But I can't remember who puts it out. But
I'm
there is a
pretty-
resource. Jay?
I'm pretty sure that we can work with Kate Hodges and the Social Services Department in town.
Bonnie Wilbur puts it together.
Yeah, Bonnie Wilbur, she would assign Bonnie and then, and then support that work. I would look at Hugh Cargill and the tax relief committee, and then many, many others of the nonprofits, whether throughout town that serve and support as venues to promote the information being spread and to make sure that, the facts are correct. But not, the value is to have one write-up that can then go to the Concord Journal and let's say anywhere, exactly. It's not, once it's done once, all you have to do is update it after that.
And put it on one piece of paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Not as-
That resource guide, it's bigger than one piece of paper.
I know,
Lucy.
I know.
Again,
I put it away. It's a big thing.
Yeah,
So I'm just saying, one piece of paper is a useful document for a lot of people we're trying to reach.
Right. And I mean, I know that in years past, I can see the article.
yes, but it has a huge variety.
I've lost some people.
I've lost several.
Yeah, Judy, you're
Judy,
frozen.
you're frozen, Judy.
I'm
Bobby?
here.
Oh, good. Judy,
I think Judy's the only one frozen. It looks like she'll come back, hopefully.
Yeah.
What about like
You
on
there?
the website for the town?
Oh, really?
Itself,
I didn't catch that, Bob. I'm sorry.
on the, what about on the town website? They have it there, I mean, as well. I'm not sure, I think the tax exemption is there. I'm not sure about the tax relief, like for the rest of the members, but the means tested one is on the site.
I didn't catch any of that, Bob. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Can you hear better now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. What I'm suggesting is on our site, the town site website, to have something in there as well. I'm pretty sure the means tested exemptions on there. But maybe we could have them on it as well, the tax relief. which is different from the means tested.
I think most of these people are not going to go to the town website. I can tell you, they're just not. So we shouldn't, I mean, as beautiful as it might be and someday in the future, they are not going to visit the website.
I love can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah. I love the idea of a single sheet, and I would guess that we can reach out, as you said, gaining ground, open table, have the single sheet available at Council on Aging, the church offices, just something simple to hand to people when they know that there is a need, a serious need. So Jane, is it possible for you to follow up with Kate Hodges and get that project going? I don't think Jane is here.
I'm happy to.
Oh,
Now, I'm not, as the liaison, I'm not,
can I ask Kate Hodges to do that?
absolutely. And as I said, I am happy to preview this, but it's more appropriate as the chair of the committee for you to go directly to Kate than it is for a select board member.
I can do that. So
So-
what we really want is a simple, single list of places to go when you need help.
Right.
And that can
Okay.
have websites and phone numbers so that anybody at any level of comfort can utilize it. I would also imagine the police department should have it.
Oh, good point.
And
And the schools.
the schools, exactly. All the guidance counselors, because they see a lot of the things that we don't.
Yep.
Okay. I suspect that Bonnie Wilbur, who's the one that currently keeps that list up to date, will know what to do. So thank you, Jane. Thank you, everybody. Are we ready to move on?
Mhm.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the silent fund update. So let me tell you what's going on there. I'll try to make some sense. The letter was sent out to organizations in town, schools and churches and others, asking for nominations to receive holiday gifts. And the holiday gifts, Jane, I think you should know it's cash. Last year, we gave out around $9,000 in cash. We gave $50 to seniors who were nominated by such organizations as the Housing Authority and the Council on Aging. And for children up to the age of 18, I believe, we gave $60 to each child. And it was green cash that Jeremy would goes to the bank and gets, and then we stuff the envelopes and give them to the nominators to distribute. I was thinking about how we were going to do that this year, since we're not getting together. We're all basically quarantined in our own homes. And so talking with Jeremy, we came up with the idea that Jeremy will find me a place with a table that I could do it. Jim Terry and Judy Terry will stuff the envelopes, since we're in our own little bubble, and get them back to Jeremy, taking care that we have good records on exactly where the money has gone, and that we'll just do that this year, since we can't do it as a joint effort.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you,
Jane,
Jim.
The question I have is that in quarantine, in the pandemic, where cash is so far less valuable in terms of people's stay-at-home responsibilities. Is it possible to do gift cards? Something else
No.
that people can use?
Why can't they use cash?
Well, if you're, for instance, using it to, if you're in your home, you can't get groceries delivered for cash. If you're in your home, you can't, it's a credit card or a debit card transactional space.
I can't imagine being able to figure out what gift cards to get for individuals. That would really be a difficult decision.
I mean, if people don't see this as a problem, then I don't want to create one. I know in this household, not that I would be one of the recipients, but if I was a recipient, there's not a lot of cash transactions that are going to happen, especially if our public health if we keep going where we're going as a state, I don't see this opening up. I see it closing down over the winter periods. So
May I suggest a conversation with Bonnie Wilbur about this, about what would be the best way to deliver this gift? There are Visa cards, so you could probably use that for almost for anything.
You're saying what?
There are Visa cards that you can get, and you can use them for anything, as opposed to an Amazon or a
Yeah.
Target or something like that, just something very generic. But it may not be, I don't know what the issues would be for our recipients, but she would.
Okay. Okay.
like I said, I'm not trying to create a problem unless it was an issue.
Okay. All right. I will talk with Bonnie, but I have to point out that we're planning on stuffing the envelopes before our next meeting. Do I have the committee's approval
Permission.
to talk with Bonnie, figure it out and move forward on my own?
Mhm. Yes.
Is that a yes from everybody?
Yep,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I will do that. I'll let you all know how it comes out, but I will take it from here.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome. Oh, and the other thing is the trustees of town donations, which controls access to the money that accrues from our trusts.
Mhm.
They are meeting on November 17th. I'm planning on attending via Zoom, and I will be requesting $7,500, which is our standard request for Silent Fund. I did talk with Bonnie about this because we have money in the account, but as she pointed out, we don't really know how many requests we're going to get this year because of the circumstances. And so I just went ahead, and if we have more money than we need, it just stays in there and we can use it this summer for the camperships. Anybody have a problem with that?
Nope.
Okay, all right. That's basically it for Silent Fund, unless there are questions. All right.
Thank you.
On to the next item is the open meeting law. And I just wanted to need to be very careful about not having a meeting that has been posted on and arranged by Jeremy for a Zoom meeting. We just need to be very careful to not discuss items that we have jurisdiction over with a quorum. It's against the rules. We'll get ourselves in trouble. We'll get the town in trouble. One of the things that we have to be careful about doing is I can talk with Elizabeth. I'm looking at Elizabeth right now on the screen. I can talk with her about business, but then I can't take that information that she and I have discussed and go to Dina and discuss the same thing, because that's basically, it's serial discussions that could be considered breaking the open meeting law. So there's a very good, clear explanation of what we can and cannot do on the town's website. If you just search for open meeting law, they have put a very good explanation in there. So, plus the state has a simplified brochure, an electronic brochure that you can also find out basic information. Are there any questions about the open meeting law? That
I
we need
just
to
wanted
talk
to
about?
get clarification around the hitting of reply all when you're receiving information, because I remember that Mike Lawson made a point of saying to us, when you get something, do not hit reply all, even to say thanks.
That's a good reminder. I had forgotten that. It seems pretty innocuous, but yes.
Then
No
I have,
replies all.
I have a question. And I think Judy brought this up partly for this reason. I had someone between our two meetings, October and November, who requested funding, and it seemed like she needed to know yes or no whether we were going to approve it. Now, I could not, as a single member of the committee, say, I think we'll approve it. And so I did go to all of you and say, we've approved this for many others in the past. And Judy rightly said, we can't talk about this. We can't have a meeting in between. And I was just trying to find a way to reassure this person that we would most likely support the application. But I don't feel I, as a one person, can do that without some kind of, so that's what I was doing. I know everybody got all upset about it. I did, because I was trying to help this person out. So in that event, what do we do?
We are known for meeting once a month.
Yes.
And I personally do not want to set a precedent for meeting because of special requests. We have other organizations in town that can help, can turn things around much more quickly than Hugh Cargill can do. That doesn't answer your question, what can we do, other than to suggest that we look for another organization to meet the need.
Yeah, I normally do that, Judy.
I know you do. You do it really well too.
I mean, I'm in touch with all of them, and I say,
Yeah.
go here, go there, and they'll help
Yeah.
you, and they'll pay half of it or whatever, just to keep it. But I just, I know at one point we talked about if there's a special need, this was several months ago, we said, if there's a special need arises, should we step up? Do you remember that conversation?
I remember
4 or
the
5 months?
conversation saying that we could give more money, but I don't remember the conversation including, oh, and we could meet more frequently. I know we do occasionally meet outside of our every first Tuesday or second Tuesday of every month, but it's for things like stuffing the envelopes or opening the envelopes and tallying how much money we've received as gifts. I don't remember ever discussing setting that precedent of meeting.
What is the lead time for notification for a meeting? Is it 14
48
days?
business hours,
48 hours?
48 hours. I send it on Thursday for a
Okay,
meeting
so-
on Tuesday.
So I mean, I've been on boards before, and things do come up that you want to address in between your meetings. If you feel you need to call a special meeting, then that's what you do. and it, I mean, we have to follow the law. It's really very simple. Even if we
Yes.
don't, even if we
Yes.
want to bend it a little because we feel like it's really important, we still have to follow the law. So I think if situations like that come up, then we have to make a decision of whether we post a meeting and have one in between. And it's just really
I will
pretty
say,
straightforward.
Lucy, I believe that some of this conversation that came up about raising the cap and meeting more frequently happened at the very beginning of COVID, when we were afraid we were going to be inundated and wondering if once a month was going to be enough. But I don't believe it was discussed as individual urgencies,
No,
but
it was,
more as a regular kind of thing if we were discovering that we were just being inundated. But that hasn't happened, either in terms of people asking for more money than our cap, or 50 people on our list coming in so quickly. So but I'm pretty sure that was the conversation happened around that time, in the very beginning of COVID.
And I don't think we need to have a hard and fast rule. I think that, there are going to be times when it comes up and we say, this doesn't warrant a meeting in between, or something will come up and we'll feel that it does.
So here's the
we can-
problem. The "we" requires a conversation that would be.
I think it
meeting law.
only requires a vote.
So I would like to give Judy the authority to determine if this is an appropriate thing to happen
I'm fine with that.
there.
Okay. So
I have,
the chairperson has the authority to decide whether to call a meeting. Is that-
I had a thought, that, how do you decide what need is greater than another need? Anybody that's on that list is in need. So we could have a bunch of meetings depending on how the personal feeling is, So I think trying to stick with a monthly is best.
I think the point that came up was a level of urgency, that the decision needed to be made urgently, not that whether there was a need or not. That was the driver.
But I mean, a lot of other people having like urgent need to pay a bill or whatever, otherwise they're going to get shut off from the utility or something. So
Yep.
they feel like they have a need. So everybody, is this more urgent than the urgent? So that's what my point is.
I agree with you, Bob, but there's the possibility that a time will come when we would need to have an urgent meeting, and I would just like to put that in the hands of the chair to make that decision. Because we can't meet to make the decision, because that's a violation
Yes.
of the open meeting law.
Yeah.
So I would just suggest that Judy be the conduit of that kind of information, and that because she is the chair, we have to trust that she will make good decisions. She's been on this committee for a really long time and has a lot of institutional memory and knowledge. And I think Judy handled it really well, in that she went to the people who were needing the money and said, look, here's the situation. We might not know immediately. Pretty likely that you'll get the money. Is it okay? Can you wait? And it was fine. It was not.
Yeah. I did the same thing with them. So I did exactly what Judy did.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel I was in a position to sort of semi-guarantee that we would probably most likely.
Mhm.
Well, we can move on to that part of the meeting and figure out if indeed she's going to get her money.
I'd like to put in the minutes a sense of the room, since there wasn't a vote, that the chair is the decider of whether we have an interim meeting. Is that okay with everyone? Doesn't need to be a
Mhm.
vote, but it's just a sense of the room.
Thank you, Dina.
Yes.
Moving on, I'd like to skip the job description. I think our meeting has been our public portion of our meeting has been fairly long. And I think we need to move on to the executive session. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Nope,
Okay,
good idea.
okay, so we'll continue that at our next meeting, if we have
You
time.
all,
Calling for
Okay,
adjournment
Thank
at,
you for joining us, Jane.
thank you for inviting me.
I'd like to make a motion, wait a minute, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting to executive session for the purpose of discussing individuals or families seeking assistance, the disclosure of which would be a violation of their privacy.
So moved.
Aye,
Second.
Thank you.
All right.
okay. Thank you. See you all in a few minutes.